Some mysteries stay with us long after the facts are revealed. Some deaths feel less like accidents and more like whispers of something darker. Tonight, we dive into one of the most infamous and chilling real-life mysteries of our time, the case of Elisa Lam, the young woman whose final moments were caught on camera in an elevator that seemed to defy reality. It was early 2013 when 21-year-old Elisa Lam from Vancouver, Canada, decided to take a trip down south. The year before, she had graduated from the University of British Columbia and was now working as a clerk at a department store. Known by her friends as a bubbly, intelligent girl who loved life, Elisa planned to visit Los Angeles, California, where she would meet her friend before flying back home. On January, she flew to LA and stayed a few nights at her friend's place. However, on January, she decided to venture out alone and check into the Cecil Hotel. To those who have never heard of this particular establishment, let me put it this way. The Cecil Hotel is considered one of the most haunted hotels in the United States. With its long list of deaths, violence, and despair, the Cecil Hotel is said to be cursed. So you can only imagine the kind of energy that permeates through the walls and hallways of this place. Over the years, at least 60 people have died in the hotel, with many cases being suspicious and unsolved. One thing is for certain, however, all of these deaths led to the Cecil Hotel earning the nickname, the Death Trap. Many serial killers have stayed here, including Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker. He murdered over 13 people in LA during the 1980s. The killer would often relax at the Cecil Hotel in between his crimes. In fact, he was arrested in 1989 while sitting on a bed in one of the hotel rooms. Clearly, the place has quite the reputation. So why would anyone want to stay there? Well, the answer is simple. The hotel is cheap. For those who don't have much money, it's one of the only places they can go to get a roof above their heads. Most of the guests are either homeless or struggling financially. As for Elisa, she was just a regular tourist who didn't know much about the hotel's reputation. She likely thought it would be a good place to rest her head after a long journey. However, she would soon regret her decision because on the evening of January 31st, 2013, she was never seen again. On the morning of February 1st, 2013, Elisa was supposed to catch a flight back home, but she never showed up. Her worried mother called the hotel and asked if they had seen her daughter. The front desk staff informed her that Elisa had indeed checked in, but they hadn't seen her since. They assumed she had simply checked out and gone to some other destination, so no one bothered to look for her. After a few hours of waiting, Elisa's mother contacted the Los Angeles Police Department and filed a missing persons report. By the time the police arrived at the hotel, it was already dark. They searched the room but couldn't find any signs of struggle or foul play. Besides, they probably assumed Elisa had just run away, so they weren't exactly eager to find her. All they did was take a look around her room and then left. Over the next few days, the police interviewed everyone who had seen Elisa. Her friend told them she was in good spirits when she left her place on the afternoon of January. Before she went to the Cecil Hotel, she had been spotted on CCTV cameras walking towards the building. But that was the last time anyone saw her. On February, the LAPD released a statement saying they were looking for Elisa and asking anyone with information to come forward. Since she had no ID or credit cards with her, it was hard to track her down. On top of that, the police didn't seem too interested in finding her. Maybe they just thought she had run off with some guy or something. Meanwhile, Elisa's parents refused to give up hope. They put up posters offering a reward for any information regarding their daughter's whereabouts. They also appeared on TV and begged whoever had taken their daughter to return her. But sadly, no one came forward. Then, on February, after almost 3 weeks of searching, something turned up. It was security footage from the Cecil Hotel. It was taken in the elevator. The video shows Elisa entering the elevator and pressing several buttons. She looks like any ordinary young woman. But as the video progresses, things start to get creepy. When the doors open, she seems to be confused. She takes a step out, then quickly retreats back into the elevator, as if she was expecting someone on the other side. But there was no one there. A minute later, the doors open again. This time, instead of stepping out, she closes the door and presses the up button. The doors open again. But this time she does something strange. She presses herself against the wall and peers over the edge. From her expression, it looks like she's scared. She presses the button for the first floor. But before the doors close, she stops them with her hand. Then she cautiously steps out of the elevator, still holding onto the door. After a few seconds, she waves her arm as if she's trying to flag someone down. Then she steps back into the elevator and presses the up button. But before the doors close, she stops them again and looks around nervously. She does this a few more times, each time seeming more and more agitated. At one point, she hides in the corner, then suddenly jumps out and moves as if she's frightened. Then she steps out of the frame. The doors close and the elevator starts moving upwards. When the authorities released the video to the public, everyone was confused. What was going on? What had terrified the young woman so much that she kept stopping the elevator? What was she hiding from? And why did she spend so much time on the fourth floor? These questions were never answered. And on February, a new mystery presented itself. Guests at the hotel started complaining about the water pressure. It was weak and barely enough for showering. Also, the water had a strange color and taste, which was far from the usual crystal clear and refreshing. However, no one paid much attention to this, thinking it was just a temporary problem. 3 days later, on February 19th, a maid working on the 13th floor noticed that the water in the sink was dark red. She reported it to the manager, who in turn called the police. When officers arrived, they saw that the water was indeed dark red. They immediately closed off the area and began searching for the source of the problem. It wasn't long before they found the answer. In one of the water tanks on the roof sat the naked body of Elisa Lam. She was floating face up, as if she had taken a bath. The police were shocked. How had she gotten into the tank? How long had she been dead? And why was her body so well preserved? The tank was bolted to the roof, and accessing it required lifting a heavy metal lid. Not only that, but the tank had filters and purification systems, meaning that whoever put her in there would have had to bypass them. It's unclear how anyone could have done this without being noticed. Furthermore, the water in the tank had a pH level of 11, making it highly alkaline and almost like bleach. Such high pH levels are usually found in swimming pools. But this was not a pool. It was a water tank meant for drinking. Even more puzzling is the fact that Elisa's clothes were never found. Considering how cold LA can be, she probably wouldn't have survived long in those conditions. But despite the harsh environment, her body was intact and showed no signs of trauma or foul play. This raised a lot of questions. Did she willingly jump into the tank? If so, why? Had she been pushed? Or was she the victim of something more sinister? Although Elisa's body was found, the police still don't know what happened to her. Officially, the case is still open and unsolved. There are a lot of theories out there, but no one knows the truth. Did she suffer a mental breakdown and jump into the tank? Did she get pushed by a person or something non-human? Some people say the water tank was like a portal that transported her to another dimension. Whatever the case may be, the answers are buried deep within the cursed walls of the Cecil Hotel